All right, so I'm back and here's my lab bench. What we're gonna talk about here is how to assemble your gas collection setup. It's a little bit funky looking, and in the process of doing this, you are gonna spill water, okay? So I want you to rest assured that if you spill water during this process, you're not doing anything wrong. It's a little bit sloppy, right? You're gonna spill water, that's okay. But let me walk you through the main things that I would like you to do. So the first thing that I would like you to do is I'd like you to take this plastic bottle, and you're gonna remove the white cap. Now what you're gonna do, as I mentioned earlier, there's this little dropper cap that came in your kit. You're going to put that into the top of this bottle, okay? So there's that dropper cap right there. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take one end of the plastic tubing and you're going to put it onto this dropper cap. Now you don't have to push it all the way down. That'll be difficult because the dropper cap is essentially angled, it flares outward, but you just want it to be affixed fairly well on there. So you can kind of see, I'll hold it up to the camera. I've got it down maybe a 1/4 inch or so, but that's what we want. So that's one end of our gas collection setup. Now, here's where things get a little bit tricky, which is assembling the other end. So here's what you're gonna do. First thing is you are going to need water because we are gonna fill this 250 ml beaker with water, and we're gonna fill the 50 ml graduated cylinder with water. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this beaker, I'm gonna fill it with water. And when I say fill it with water, I'll show you what that looks like. We essentially want it to be as close to the brim as possible without overflowing. So you can see I have it almost completely full, and I'll angle this camera up a little bit so you can see it. So it's almost filled to the top, all right? And I'm gonna set that down here. I'm gonna do the same thing with the 50 ml graduated cylinder. Now, what I want you to be aware of is when they say full, they don't mean fill to the 50 ml mark. They mean fill all the way up until it's almost full. So let me do that. Okay. So, and I'll angle the camera again so you can see this. So there's my grad cylinder. It's pretty much almost full to the top without overflowing. Again, I'll angle the camera so you can see that a little bit better, but I've got water almost to the top, okay? All right, now here is the tricky part, and here's where you are bound to spill some water. It's going to happen, and that's okay. So what I would recommend doing is you're gonna take, so you have this gas collection tubing, one end is attached to our plastic bottle, the other end is free. What you're gonna do is you're gonna stick that free end into your grad cylinder, okay? And I would stick it down fairly significantly. I would probably, looks like my glass or my tubing is down at the 40 ml mark on my grad cylinder, and I can actually hold that up to the camera so you can see. So it's pretty much down in there. It's close to the 40 ml mark. Now here's where it gets kind of fun and exciting, and water will definitely spill. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this grad cylinder with the tubing, we're gonna invert it, and we're gonna dunk it into this beaker, okay? Now, the instructions say to cover this with your thumb to prevent water leakage. That's gonna be hard to do because the opening is bigger than your thumb. So like I said, if you spill a little water here, please don't stress out, it's no big deal, all right? So I'm gonna move this out of the way. I'm gonna hold this. I'm actually gonna tuck it here. So just kind of tuck this off to the side. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna cover it with my finger, and then really quickly, like I said, you're gonna spill some water, invert into your grad cylinder, okay? Now, I will tell you on that attempt, I lost more water than I was hoping. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try again. So I don't know if any of you ever watched Julia Child, probably not, she's kind of old school, but she always says, it's okay to make a mistake, we just try again. So you can see on that inversion, I basically lost a ton of water for my grad cylinder. So I'm gonna refill it and I'm gonna try again. So the idea is we want to keep as much water in the grad cylinder as possible when we flip it over. So here we go. Let's try it this way, right? A couple different techniques. Boom. Ah, much better. So what I did in that particular technique is I tipped both of them and I put it in. Now, what you can see, and I'll show you this with my GoPro, angle the camera for you. But now we have our water level in our grad cylinder that we can now measure as volume initial. So let me show you what that looks like. So one moment, let me angle the camera so we can see this. Okay. So now what you can see is that I can measure that T initial value. So it's just below, so there's my 10 mil, 9 mil, 8 mil, 7 mil. So it's about 7.5. That's my initial amount. Okay. Now the idea is what we're going to do now. So let me put you back where we were. So what you're going to do now for the second part of the experiment is you're going to add the yeast and the hydrogen peroxide to this bottle. So you're going to add it to this. You're going to reaffix the dropper. And then as the reaction goes, it'll produce gas. What'll happen is that gas will bubble into your grad cylinder and it will displace the air that's present. As that happens, the water level will go down. Make sure this is nice and affixed. That water level will go down, and then you can look at the difference in volume to determine how much gas was produced by your yeast and hydrogen peroxide reaction. Okay, so one more time, let me just demo, I think, the technique that works best. And yes, you can tell I'm spilling water everywhere. So I'm gonna pull out my grad cylinder, I'm gonna refill it, and I'm gonna demo that technique one more time, because I think based on the instructions, the thumb over the grad cylinder didn't work all that well. So let me show you what I think works a little better. So I've got my grad cylinder full, I've got my beaker full. I'm gonna put my tubing in. Make sure the tubing is down near the 40 mil mark so it doesn't pop out. I'm gonna move my dropper out of the way, and here's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna angle them close together so that they're right on top of each other, no spilling, and boom, dunk quickly. And there you go. Now you are ready to perform your experiment. Like I said, you will spill water, no big deal. When you're ready to clean it up, paper towels will take care of it. And with that, you'll be able to monitor the production of gas.